Let's learn how to crochet this little hedgehog. Let's start by crocheting the body. Magic ring. Wrap the thread around your pinky. Put it on the index finger. Form a coil on the middle finger. Crochet through the loop and hook the thread through. Wrap the thread from above and bring it through the loop on the crochet hook. This is 1 ch. The CH at the beginning of each loop is not counted as a stitch. For the first loop we will hook low SC. Crochet through the loop. Hook the thread through. This time there are 2 loops on the crochet hook. Wrap the thread from above and bring it through the loop on the crochet hook. This looks like 1 SC. We are going to have 6小时 hooks in total. After we've hooked up the 6 SCs, let's take off the coil. Let's find the short one. Tighten. Pull until there are no holes in the center. Then we find the first stitch. Here's the CH from earlier. The first stitch is here. Through the crochet hook. And hook the thread through. And then bring it right through the loop on the crochet hook and pull it tight. And that's the first loop. Next, hook edge. Let's hook a second loop. The second loop is 6 inch. That's 2 SC in each stitch. After this round of stitches, there are 12 stitches. Our first stitch is where the SL stitch was. Here it is. Through the crochet. Hook 1 SC first. Then enter the needle in this stitch. Hook a SC again. One more SC. This way 2 stitches are grouped together. This is the one we have here. The location of the pull-out. We are not even using this as a pin destination. After hooking 6 inches, we find the position of the first stitch, SL straight. And that's how the second loop is hooked. Next, hook 1 CH. Hook the third loop. The pattern for the third loop is 1 SC, 1 inch for a group. Cycling through 6 groups. The number of stitches after this loop is 18. Let's start with the first stitch. Let's start with 1 SC. Then enter the needle in the second stitch. Hook 1 inch. 3 stitches in a group. Hook up the last group. Find the position of the first stitch SL straight. Then hook 1 CH. And then the fourth loop. The pattern for lap 4 is 1 SC, 1 inch, 1 SC in a group. Cycle 6 groups. The number of stitches after this loop is 24. We are going to enter the first stitch. Let's start with 1 SC. Then enter the needle on the second stitch. Hook 1 inch. Then enter in the 3rd stitch. Hook 1 SC. This way 4 stitches are grouped together. Hook up the last group. Find the position of the first stitch SL straight. then hook 1 CH. Next hook the 5th loop. The pattern for the 5th loop is 3 SC 1 ink. Cycle 6 groups. The stitch count after this loop is 30 stitches. Let's start with 3 SC. And then 1 ink. This way 5 stitches are grouped together. Hook up the last group. Find the position of the first stitch SL straight. Then hook 1 CH. Start the 6th loop. The pattern for the 6th loop is 2 SC 1 ink 2 SC in a group. Cycle 6 groups. The number of stitches after this loop is 36. Let's start with 2 SC. And then we'll check 1 ink. Then hook 2 SC. This way 6 stitches are grouped together. Hook the last group. Find the position of the first stitch SL straight. Next hook 1 CH. Hook the 7th loop. The pattern for the 7th loop is 5 SC 1 ink in a group. Cycle through 6 groups. The number of stitches after this loop is 42. Let's start with 5 SC. After we've hooked, hook 1 ink. This way 7 stitches are grouped together. Hook up the last group. Find the position of the first stitch SL straight. Hook 1 CH. The next 8 loops. The pattern for the 8th lap. It's 3 SC, 1 ink, 3 SCs in a group. Cycling through 6 groups. The number of stitches in this loop is 48. Let's start with 3 SC. Then we hook 1 ink. Then hook 3 SC. This makes a group of 8 stitches. Hook up the last group. Find the position of the first stitch SL straight. Then hook 1 CH. Next, circle 9. We hook 7 SC, 1 ink for a group. Cycle through 6 groups. The number of stitches after this loop is 54. Let's start with 7 SC. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then hook 1 ink. This way 9 stitches are grouped together. Hook the last group. Here we change the line to brown. Pass the crochet hook in the first stitch. Hook the brown thread over. Hooking directly through the loop on the crochet hook. And then hook 1 CH. Next we are inside each stitch. We'll do 1 SL straight. Put some pressure on this thread. Wind the wire directly. Loop on a hooked crochet hook. Next stitch continue SL straight. Press the thread a little. Wrap the wire. Bringing through the loop on the crochet hook. SL straight loop like this. We'll just press a few stitches at the back of the thread and we're done. One round of join is 54 stitches. When you're done, let's take the first stitch from this SL straight in this position, through the crochet, and with this first stitch behind this beige color. SL stitch come here. Lap 11 for us. (54) SC to hook. Hook 1 CH first, and then here. Inside the SL straight needle, check SC. That's right through the brown half of the braid, and then through the back beige one. The needle. Hook a loop of SC, 54 stitches in total. Finish the last stitch, then find the position of the first stitch. SL straight. Let's give him this beige line. Cut the thread. Next, we'll hook the 12 through 18 loops, all 54 SCs. But let's start by hooking 1. These 54 SC are all done on the inside half stitch. That's the only braid that was picked, this half of the braid. Let's start with the first SC. These two braids are a single stitch, and then we're picking the outside of this, and the inside half is the inside half. First, 1 SC. This circle. It's all the same way. Laps 12 through 18. Or hook 54 SC without adding or subtracting. Or half hooks in the needle. And then finish SL straight after each loop. Then hook the next round. We SL straight with a whole needle lead V shape. And when we start hooking, just pick the inside half of the braid. After the 18th loop, and then hook ACH. Next, the 19th loop. The pattern of the 19 laps is 7 SC and 11 December. Cycle 6 groups. The number of stitches after this loop is 54. Let's start with 7 short stitches. This 19th loop is the same. Half a hook there. Start by hooking 7 short stitches A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 after hooking up 7 SC. Then hook 1 December. I'll just pick inside. I'll just pick 2 inside half stitches. Bring it in. Bring it straight through the 2 coils. This way 8 stitches are dominant. OK, last group. Find the SL stitch of the first stitch. Next hook ACH. Let's go to the 20th loop. The pattern for the 20th loop is 3SC 1 December, 3SC for A set. Cycle through 6 groups. The number of stitches after this loop is 42. Let's start with 3SC. And then we'll hook 1 deck. Continue with 3 more short stitches. Sew 7 stitches in a group. Hook the last group. Find the position of the first stitch, SL stitch. Then hook 1 CH. Next hook the 21st loop. The pattern for the 21st loop is 5SC. 1 deck for a group. Cycle through 6 groups. The number of stitches in this loop is 36. Let's start with 5SC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then hook 1 deck. That's those stitches in a group. Hook the last group. Find the position of the first stitch SL stitch. Next hook 1 CH. And then we hook the 22nd loop. Before the 22nd loop, we can start by filling it with a little bit of cotton. After we've filled it with cotton, we are going to hook the 22nd loop. The pattern for the 22nd loop is 2SC 1 December, 2SC in a group. Cycle 6 groups. The stitch size after this loop is 30 stitches. Let's start with 2SC. Same inner half stitch. 1, 2, and then hook 1 deck. Then hook 1 SC. Sew 5 stitches in a group. Hook the last group. Find the position of the first stitch, SL stitch. Then hook 1 CH. Next, hook the 23rd loop. The pattern for the 23rd loop is 3SC, 1 deck for a group. Loop 6 groups. The number of stitches after this loop is 24. Let's start by hooking 3SC. And then we'll hook 1 December. This way, 4 stitches are grouped together. Hook the last group. Find the position of the first stitch SL straight. Hook 1 CH. Next we start hooking. The pattern for the 24th loop is 1 SC. 1 deck 1 SC in a group. Cycle 6 groups. The number of stitches to complete the loop is 18. Let's start by hooking 1 SC. Then we hook 1 deck. And then 1 SC. This way 10 stitches are grouped together. Hook up the last set. Find the position of the first stitch. And then we're gonna give him a little bit more cotton. Fill it up. Next, we'll hook the 25th loop. The pattern for the 25th loop is 1 SC, 1 deck for a group. Cycling through 6 groups. The number of stitches in this loop is 12. Let's start by hooking 1 SC. And then we hook a deck. That's 2 stitches in a row. Then find the position of the first stitch. SL straight. Then hook 1 CH. Next, hook 1 deck on the last loop. After hooking a loop of deck, we find the position of the first stitch. SL straight. Hook 1 CH. And that's the main part hooked. Next, we'll start hooking the hedgehog's back spines. We're behind this brown, inside this part of the dark brown. No hooks from this low SC position. Start counting from this circle. 1 hook, 1 unhooked. Keep going round and around. Loop to end. These 2 remaining loops are to be hooked. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are the loops to hook. Let's start with the hook. First circle. the first 7 laps. That's up to the last 2 laps. It's all 8 cheese. Let's get this line to it first. We are going to pull it into the first loop of the loop here. After the draw, we hook it CH. After we've hooked the 8 cheese, let's find the second stitch on this side. Directly on the next stitch SL straight. Then continue to hook it more CH. Then SL straight in the next stitch. And so on and so forth. Let's start with after we've hooked the first loop, and then we don't hook the next one. Jump to the next circle here. Position of the first stitch. Through the crochet stitch, SL straight. And then, we continue to hook as before. And so on and so forth. That's when the loop is done. No hooks on the next loop, pull to this next loop. Keep hooking like this, keep hooking until the last 2 rows are left. Let's go there for now. We'll show you when we have 2 lines left. You can look at it. This is what it looks like after the hook. So we're down to the last 2 rows. Our position for the first lap. It's here. The position of the first lap was just here. The 6 SCs we just had in the center are not enough. 1 empty stitch in the first round. 2nd empty stitch. 3rd empty stitch. 4th empty stitch. Empty stitch here in the 5th loop. 1 empty stitch in the 6th loop. Lap 7, that's a total of 7 laps here. This is what it looks like after 7 loops. Then we'll hook the 8th and 9th loops. For the 8th and 9th turns, we don't have a blank line. That's the same loop we're going to hook on the 8th loop. This is the same loop we're going to hook here, and then the 9th loop is also to be hooked. The 8th and 9th loops are different from the previous ones. That's the 8th CH in front of it. And then SL straight draw. We are at 8, 9 turns. It's the 7th, just SL straight. Let's pull it up to circle 8 here. Find the position of the first needle. We have this. The direction of the hook can be customized by you. Hook to the left. Hooking to the left is fine. Hooking to the right is fine. I just hooked it to the left, and then to the back. I just hooked the front to the right, and then I switched to the left at the end of the hook. This can be randomized by yourself. See which direction you are used to. SL straight. Later we hook 7ch. After the hook, then in the next stitch SL straight. Continue with 7 more ch. And then in the next stitch, that's every stitch. We are all going to crochet 7ch. We finished hooking ACH. After every 7ch hooks, then we SL straight. That is, we don't have to count how many stitches are in this row. That is, you just have to make sure that every single stitch in the row, there's 1 ch. That's it. This will give him the 8th and 9th laps. Now that we've hooked our last 2 loops, and then SL straight, and then we disconnect. Let's go ahead and wrap this thread. And then tie it in a knot, disconnect, and you're done. That's it. Next we have the hook nose and mouth. First, we are going to hook 3ch. White thread around the pinky. On the index finger, pinch the thread with your thumb and middle finger. Crochet the thread from the back to the front. Then bring the thread through the loop on the crochet hook. Hook 1 ch in this way, and then hook 3 ches. And then hook another ch. Then on the penultimate stitch, here's the first stitch, here's the second stitch, the position of the second stitch, into the needle, hook ASC first. Hook another SC. Next, hook a W stitch. That is 3 SC in the same stitch. 1, 2, 'After 3 hooks, let's turn around into the needle over here. Hook 1 SC. The 3 SC just now, they are in the same needle, and then one more ink. That's 2 SC in the same stitch. After hooking, we find the position of the first stitch. Here, through the crochet SL straight. Pull tight, then hook 1 CH. Next, we hook a second loop. For the second loop, we'll start by hooking 1 ink. Then we'll hook 1 SC. Then hook 3 more ink. One, 2, 'After hooking 3 extra stitches, we hook 1 SC. Then we hook 3 ink. Then find the position of the first stitch, SL straight. Hook 1 CH. Hook up on the second loop. And then the third and fourth loops, all are hooked with 1 round of SC without adding or subtracting. 14 stitches in all. That's in every stitch. Only 1 SC is hooked in each stitch. Hook 2 SC. Hook 1 round. Find the position of the first stitch, SL straight. Then hook a second loop. After hooking, we find the position of the first stitch, SL straight. then hook ECH. Disconnected. Let's hook the ear part. Magic ring, hook 7SC. Hook 1CH. Then hook 7SC. After hooking, taking off the coil, tensioning, then hook the first stitch, SL straight, hook 1CH. On the second loop we hook 7 SL straight, that's hooking the thread right through the needle, and then bring it through the loop. It's like this. After you've hooked the starter stitch, we don't do SL straight. Hook 1CH directly, and then break it off for sewing. The same else will have to be crocheted for him again. Next we'll hook the arm. Magic ring 6SC. Hook 1CH. Hook 6SC. Hook 6SC, taking off the coil, tensioning. Find the position of the first stitch, SL straight. Then hook 1CH, and then the second to 6th loop. We all hook 6SC in the same way. Second hook to lows SC. After each loop, SL straight. Then hook 1CH. Next hook to the 6th loop. After the 6th loop, me too. Give him a discount. Hook 2SC. Then disconnect. Hook him another one in the same arm. Next we'll hook the legs. Magic ring. hook 1 CH. Then hook 6 SC in the first loop. Three, 4, 5, 6. After hooking, take off the coil and tighten it. And then find the position of the first stitch, SL straight. Next, hook ACH. Hook 1 SC in the second loop, 1 ink dominant, loop 3 groups. The finished stitch is 9 stitches. Hook 1 SC first. Then hook an ink. Two groups. Three groups. Hook to find the first SL straight. Next, hook ACH. On the third loop, we hook ASC without adding or subtracting. That's 9. Four. Eight. 9. After making 9 SC, find the position of the first stitch. Then hook 1 CH. Next, on the fourth loop, we'll hook 1 SC. 1 deck, for 1 group. Cycle through 3 groups. Finish with 6 stitches. Let's start by hooking 1 SC. Hook 1 December. Let's go straight to the outside half of this needle. That's it. Group 1. Group 2. Group 3. After hooking 3 sets, we find the position of the first stitch SL straight. Next, hook 1 CH. Next is lap 5. Hook 6 SC directly on the 5th loop. After 6 SCs, find the position of the first stitch, SL straight. Then hook ACH. At this point, we'll stuff him with a little bit of cotton. Fill it up. After stuffing the cotton, we fold it like this. Fold then direct. Merge hook to SC. Then disconnect. Give it another hook on the same leg. Scarf. Both sides of the scarf we hook 1ch first. Left into the stitch, 24ch. Hook 1 first, tie a loose knot, and then 4ch. 3. After hooking 24ch, let's go back to the penultimate stage. 1, 2, pick up half the stitches here. Hook SC. Hook 23SC's back. After the 23SCs are hooked, leave a long line. For sewing. This scarf on the right. On the right we hook 20ch. Then we'll start the SC in the penultimate stage. 19 hooks in total, same hook as the one on the left. It's just not the same length. After you hook it, we'll leave the line as long as before. For sewing. After hooking up all the fittings, next we'll start assembling. First we'll sew up this nostril section. We are going to find the approximate position, and then sew him up like this with a sewing needle. Sew into the back, leaving him a seam. We'll stuff the cotton later. Now we're gonna put a little cotton in him. There's a seam here. After you've stuffed the cotton, we are going to go ahead and stitch it up. Let's sew the whole thing up. After you're done sewing, let's give it. Tie a knot and then disconnect. Long header. Let's take this ear. Let's get the ear in position with the hand. Make it symmetrical on both sides. You can take this and take the center line as the starting stitch, and then we'll stitch him up. And when it's done, we'll do the same thing with the nostrils, tying him in knots too. Then wrap the thread. and then you sew the other ear on the same way. The ear is now partially sewn on. Next we'll sew the arm. The arms are sewn in the same way. It's just to position him a little bit and then suture needle fixed to the fixed position over there. There you go. And then we're gonna take this thread and we're gonna tie it in a knot. Grow it a little bit. Same thing on the other side. After the arm is sewn, it looks like this. And then we give the scarf. And there's a left and a right side of the scarf. Give it here. Positioning and foot positioning. Let's take the scarf and sew it. We are going to sew it in place. The stitching is the same. That is, people can follow their own habits. Hold it in place, and then just wrap the wire. The same way on the right. Next, sew the legs together. The approximate position of the leg is here. Same stitching as the hand. Then just wrap the threads a little and you're done. On the other side, you do the same thing. Sew it on. Next, we are gonna sew up this nostril, the center section. Let's glue the nose to it. When it's done, let's sew this black line in the center. Instead, we'll just sew one, and then tie it in a knot. Break the line. Hide the thread. And that's the nose part done. Next, let's open up the eyes a little bit. And that's it. Finally, we use the line with the color of the thorns. Let's sew the eyebrows. This way down. And then we're gonna take this scarf and we're gonna give him a little bit of a tweak. And now we have a little hedgehog.